We're about to go interview a famous actor. I'm so excited. And I'm talking like super famous. Lord of the Rings, Rudy, the Goonies, 50 First Dates. My goodness, like the list goes on and on and on. Well, I don't know if I would call it interviewing per se. I say that because my day job is being like a local news meteorologist. So we do interviews there. This is going to be more of a conversation about mental health up on stage in front of a lot of people. We are talking to Sean Astin from freaking Goonies, from Rudy. I mean, he is Rudy. Stranger Things, 50 First Dates. I mean, the list goes like on and on and on. He has been in so much. And he's here in Colorado today because he's talking about mental health. Brown & Brown is an insurance company here, and they're putting on this event talking about integrating mental health into the workplace, which, as you know, I'm super passionate about. Part of the reason why I started Approachable Outdoors is because when I started hiking, it almost was like medicine for my anxiety. Hiking has made a huge difference in my mental health. And then talking about it, meeting a community, creating a community has been one of the best experiences of my life. I got this Instagram message one day from someone with Brown & Brown. They're an insurance company and they're putting on this event. They said, hey, we're doing this event and our big speaker is Sean Astin and he's talking about mental health. And it was actually Sean's idea to make it more of a conversation. We're going to be sitting down up on stage. I've got some questions ready to go. I'm hoping that it really just flows and is super casual and doesn't feel like an interview. He actually said, reach out to a local news anchor, which Sean, like, you're a big deal. The fact that you even know like local news anchors exist is so cool. I've got to leave in like 12 minutes. We're heading all the way down to Sedalia. We're going to the Sanctuary Golf Course. That's where the event is being held, which I've heard is just incredible. And I've been spending the last couple of days researching. Sean's team actually sent over some questions, and so that was a great jumping off point, but I wanted to make sure. I didn't know a ton about his backstory. I'd heard that his mom was Patty Duke. You hear about everything that she went through with mental health. It was fascinating actually doing that research because I think we're starting to take for granted, and not in a bad way. We should be taking for granted the fact that we can talk about mental health now. That saying you have anxiety, saying you're in therapy is not a bad thing. It's a really awesome thing. But that wasn't always the case, especially not for women in Hollywood. You think back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, like what Patty Duke went through. It was really heartbreaking. She was undiagnosed bipolar for many years in Hollywood working, and then was eventually diagnosed, and then really used her platform as a huge jumping off point. She was one of the first people, especially one of the first women, to speak openly about mental health. And we're talking back before it was normal to talk about it. So I'm sure there was some backlash. I'm sure people thought it was a little bit odd. We're so lucky to be living now in this world where they're putting on entire events talking about mental health in the workplace. I'm just so excited to be a part of it. So I've been prepping. I've got my questions ready to go. I just changed. I ran home. I went to work at 3 o'clock this morning. So we've already worked a full day. And now we've got to drive about 40 minutes to go down to the golf course and then have this conversation. So I'm going to bring you along with me. I just took off all of my TV makeup except for my eyes. They're obviously still pretty done up. I just feel like the TV makeup can be a lot in person sometimes. And it's now been on since like 4 o'clock this morning, so we're gonna touch up the makeup when we get there and put a little bit back on the face, but also gives my face a chance to breathe. Brewster, I know this is our cuddle time, but I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back very soon, I promise. I wouldn't leave you if it wasn't for a good cause. So belly rubs? Belly rubs. We're here. They had lunch waiting for us, which is super nice. Just met Sean and he's like the nicest, super personable person. They're out selling some raffle tickets right now, so I'm gonna go check it out. Okay, here's the room, all set up. It's a pretty nice little chair set up here.
In 1980, she was diagnosed with a bipolar mood condition. And we, the family did not require a formal diagnosis in order to know that something was wrong.
When you were growing up, were the terms mental health, bipolar, were they terms you ever heard? You obviously knew something was off. Did you know it was a mental health problem? Or was that not even in the vocabulary at that point?
Just checking to see how many kids are here. Back shit crazy. Crazy is a big one. Disturbed, off their rocker, mental illness. I think that word must have been out. But whatever the words and phrases are now, the tone is different. I think, our country's gone through a really interesting time where socially and culturally moved in a certain direction.
When you were growing up, did you know that it was something different in your mom's brain? That it wasn't just a personality trait, that there was something more going on? Because you were a kid.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think mostly what we were aware of was behavior. We were aware of her behavior. If she didn't eat, didn't work with her brain chemistry. And so if she ordered something after not having eaten and the person got the order wrong, it was, capital crime.
Oh my goodness. That was one of my favorite events that I've done in a very long time. Sean Astin is truly, just so charismatic. He just draws you in and so genuine. He spoke so freely and so openly about his experience with his mom and her bipolar diagnosis and what it was like growing up with that. People were just so enthralled. I feel like sometimes when you have a speaker at these events, they can kind of drag on a little bit, and there was just none of that. People were so excited to hear from him the whole time. And not only that, it was, as much as it was a serious and important conversation, it was really lighthearted. It was really fun. He'd break into song at times. He remembered the freaking monologues from Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers. He would break into that in character for a second and then come back out and just be Sean again. It was just, it was really, really cool. Lately, in the last probably couple of years, maybe a year or so, I've really cut back on the amount of events that I used to do 90 events a year, and it just got to be so much, and I was exhausted and I had nothing left to give any other part of my life. So I'd really cut back. But then when this one came about, it just felt really special. And I'm so, so glad that I did it. It was all for Bags of Fun, which is this incredible, incredible foundation that puts together different bags, literally bags full of toys for kids who are in the Children's Hospital. I'm so excited to do more with that organization because it's amazing. And I'm so glad that you're part of it. And the reason why the mental health tie-in, they're now doing mental health bags. There's just a lot of good today and a lot of really awesome people here. And the sanctuary, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to come and golf it. It is so incredibly beautiful. What a day. Oh, Sean was so cool.